What's going on, guys? Balkan Architecture, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create a railroad in Revit. And we're going to be creating a railroad that fits our train, a train family that's going to be included in this tutorial. Okay, so this idea I got from Huai Wu Qin, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think it's a cool idea to kind of try to explore what can be Revit used for. Now this is going to be a manipulation of the railing tool, and we're going to create this cool parametric railroad that can not only basically follow curves in the but also it can be adapted on a topo surface, so you can actually create a train that goes up and down a hill. So that's really cool. Now before I get into that, I would just like to ask you to like this tutorial. It helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and also if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe because I make useful Revit tutorials each week. I make also one advanced Balkan Architect course, and that can be found on my Patreon, first link in the description. There you can find over 50 hours of content and also all of my advanced project files. I've got over 500 files so far. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get straight into the tutorial. As you can see here, we are at Revit's homepage, so I'm going to get started by going here to Models and then to New, and for this I'm going to be using the architectural template. Now, once we open up Revit, the first thing that we need as reference for our railway or railroad is going to be some sort of a train for our tracks. So because I don't know the dimensions for our tracks, I found this train family that's going to help me out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is load that in. So I'm just going to go here to Insert, Load Family, and here on my desktop I've got this CP a train family that I found online, and I'm just going to leave this with the exercise files for this project, and you can find those on my Patreon, first link in the description. Now I'm just going to go here to Architecture, to Component, and let's place this this train. So I'm just going to hit the escape key a couple of times, and let's go immediately into 3D to see what we have. So this looks pretty nice, and we can get the dimensions for our tracks from the bottom here. So I'm going to go here to the south elevation, and then here we have all of the information. So I can go here to the measure tool, and then I'm going to go from this point and then just measure all the way to the other side. So this is going to be our gauge length, if I understand the train tracks terminology right. So that's that distance, so I'm just going to write that down. Also, I measured this, so just the outside and then the inside of this wheel, as well as the height of the wheel. So once we have this all of this information, and I've just written this down a bit earlier so I can just use it as reference. So once we have all of that information, we can get started on our railway family. So what we need to do first is, let's go back here into 3D, and for our railroad, we're going to be using a railing family. So you can pretty much use railing families for everything, and that's why we're going to be using it for this. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing now is just go here into Edit Type, and then I'm going to duplicate this family, and let's call this one Railroad. Click OK, and there we go. Now I'm just going to click OK and just place a single segment here, and then hit Finish. Okay, so here we have a simple railing. As you can see, we've got some simple vertical balusters as well as a top rail on top. So now it's time to modify this family in order for it to include all of the elements necessary for our railroad. So for those elements, we have to create them first. Now we're going to be creating them as separate families. We need 3 separate families, and one of the families is going to have another nested family. So let's start off with that, and that's going to be the cross T. That's that wooden part in the bottom. Again, I'm not really too familiar with the terminology, but I think that's what it's called. So what I'm going to do is go here to File, go to New, go to Family, and then here I'm just going to scroll down a little bit, and for that, as far as all of the family templates, I'm going to choose the base-based generic model, and let's open that up. And this is what we get. So the first thing that we need to do is to create that wooden part, so I'm just going to create a simple extrusion, and let's go with a rectangle, and just create a simple rectangle. Now for the dimensions, I'm going to measure from the center, and then I want 1600
on each side, a total of 3200. There we go. Now for the length, let's try, yeah, let's go with 150. Now this is in millimeters, by the way, and this should be 300 then. There we go. And here for the extrusion, let's go with, let's go with 150. I think that will work. And if I just go into 3D, this is what that looks like. Okay, let's try 100. Okay, this maybe looks a bit better. I think 50 would, let's try 50 for a second. Yeah, I think this is a bit too small, so let's stick to 100 for that then. Okay, so once we have this part done, let's do those fasteners that fasten this thing to the actual rail. So for that, let's go to the front elevation. Here we can see that wooden element, and then we need to mark the positioning. So what I'm going to do is go here to reference plane, and just create a simple reference plane here. Now the distance from the main reference plane is going to be the half of our gauge, and that's 1344.7. Okay, and if I just select this and mirror it using the pick axis option, mirror to the other side, and now if we just measure from one side to the other, there we go, we have that number, which is the distance between wheels, which is 2689.4. Okay, so once we have that, now we can place our fastener here. So for that, let's go to create, go to extrusion, and then let's go with just a simple line. So I'm going to create something that looks like this. There we go. Okay, so this distance here, I'm going to go with 60. On this side, that should make it 120 total. And then for the offsets, let's go with 15 on each side, so like this, 15, and then offset from the bottom, 15, and just 15 all around. So let's go with 15 here, as well as here. So we have something that looks like that fastener. Now, of course, you can include a part here and then include some bolts or something like that. I think it's an overkill for this simple project, but feel free to do that if you want. This is just a demonstration at the end of the day. So I'm going to select this part and then again mirror it using the pick axis option to the other side. Hit finish, and then let's go into the 3D view. So it looks kind of like this. I'm actually going to give it an extrusion end of maybe, let's try 60, and then here minus 60. Let's see what that will look like. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with this. So we can keep it like that, and keep in mind that you have to set up the materials here. So I'm just going to select this and set the material, and I'm just going to go here into search on this menu below, and then let's see what we have. Let's go with just the regular one, load that one in, and then I'm just going to hit apply. Okay, there we go. And for this one, this should be wood, so let's go here to materials. Let's search for wood, and I actually want to use the birch wood that we have over here. That's my favorite. And now if we change this into realistic, this is what that looks like. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Now we have to just save it. So I'm just going to go here to save as family, and I'm just going to save it here on desktop as, let's just call it the cross tie. And actually, I'm just going to call it cross tie face based. And this is going to make a lot more sense just in a moment. So if I just save this now, there we go. And now I can just close this family off. Okay, so once we have done that, we have to create a new family, and this is going to be a baluster family that's going to host the family that we have just created. So if I just go here to new family, and this one is going to be classified as a baluster. Now, the reason I've done it this way is because I want to have those elements tilt like this. So we can have this railroad go over a hill or over topography, so you can actually have a quite functional railway. I don't want it to be just flat, so we have to use this baluster family, but it's quite difficult to model within this family's construction. So you create a separate family and then you nest that within this one. So what we need to do now is set this reference plane over here as the main one. So what I'm going to do is just go to create, go to Set Reference Plane, pick a plane, click OK, and then pick this one. Now we get this pop-up that's asking us where we want to view this reference plane from. The problem is because it's tilted and you can't really see it right. So I just want to view it from above. So I'm just going to go here to Floor Plan, and then I'm going to go here to Component. Now, of course, we don't really have any components loaded in, so I want to load one in. Go to Desktop, and let's load in this cross-tie face-based. Open that one up. And now here for the placement, change it from just vertical face, change it to place on work plane. And now you can place it just like this. Make sure to place it somewhere around the middle, and that will do the job. Now, if we go here to the left elevation, you'll see that it's on the wrong side. So you just click on this button to flip work plane, and as you can see, now it's on the right side. Now, I also want to center it here, so the only way that I found so far to center this thing is to go to Create, go to Reference Line, let's place it here on the center left-right. If you're viewing it either from the left or the right, you want to choose the center left-right, or if you're viewing it from the back or from the front, you want to choose the front-back. This is the left, so let's choose here left, click OK. And then I can come in here, try to find the intersection. There it is. So the intersection of this whole construction. Zoom out a little bit and then place it kind of at the 90-degree angle, just like this, parallel or 90 degrees towards this. And then you can go here to Align Dimension and go with the angular dimension, and then just go from this reference plane to this reference line. Place it, and then here we have this little lock sign, and lock it in place. The reason for this is now if you change the tilt angle, so if I go here and then change the bottom tilt angle to 15, click Apply, as you can see the whole construction will rotate, and that's exactly what we want to have. And just to lock this thing in place, you go here to Align, select the reference line, and then select the actual cross T, lock it in place, and there we go. Okay, so once we have done all of this, we can save this family as well. So this is going to be actually the cross-tie family. So just get rid of the face based. Hit here, save. There we go. Now we can just close this off. Okay, so once we have this family created, we just need to create our railing. So, and we have to create two families for that, for the left rail and the right rail. So what I'm going to do now is go here to File, go to New again, go to Family, and this is just going to be a really simple family. Search for the metric profile rail family template, open that up, and here what we just need to do is go to Line, and then we just have to go, well, we have to go from here all the way to the other side by the value of 60, go down, then go to the other side by the value of 120, go up by the value of 50, and there we go. We just need to center this, so it should be at 25, 25. There we go. Perfect. So we have our rail. Okay, so I'm just going to save this, and let's call this one Rail 1. Hit Enter. The next thing that I'm going to do is select all of this, go to Mirror with the Pick Access option, and just uncheck Copy. And now if I just select this middle line, as you can see, it's going to copy to the other side, and we can just go here to File, Save As, Family, and this is going to be Rail 2. Okay, Rail 2. Save. And there we go. We have all of our families done, and it's, as you can see, it's really quick to complete the whole construction. And now we just need to basically place all of these families together here inside of this railing family, or this railing system family type. Okay, so what we are going to do now is go select the railing. It's going to be called Railroad. Go into Edit, and then for the rail structure, we need to insert a couple of rails. Next, for the profile, we have to load one in. Now for that, let's OK out of this. As you can see, it's just placed some sort of a default rail. That's okay, we're going to change that later on. Okay, so now let's just go here to Insert, Load Family, and let's load in both rails as well as the cross T. Open that up. There we go, they're loaded in. Now we can go back, select the railing, go into Edit Type, go into Rail Structure, and then change the profile from default to Rail 1 and this one to Rail 2. Now for the offset, the first one should be at minus, and again, we're doing that number, the magic 1344.7, so that's the half of our gauge width, length, I think that's what it's called, and then just copy the number and place it here without the minus. Now for the height offset, I think it should be 95, but we'll have to recheck that later on. Maybe it's a bit off. We can, of course, fix that up later on. So now if I hit apply, as you can see, we get those two rails. Next, it's time to affect the balusters. So for balusters, here, as you can see, the baluster family is the square one, but we have to change it to our cross T and do the same thing here on the bottom. So you want to change all of these. So let's change this one to cross T, this one. There we go. Next, of course, we have to change the distance, and I'm just going to set it to 1000 millimeters. And here, the top rail, let's set it up to rail 1 and do the same thing here. Rail 1, rail 1, rail 1. And this should do the job. I think, yeah, I think this is it. I think this is it. So if I just hit apply, okay, apply, and there we go. Okay, this looks really cool. Yeah, one minor problem. We have this top rail, but that's an easy fix. Go into edit type and just uncheck that one, hit apply, and there we go. So this is looking really good. So as you can see, the rail, okay, I think, oh, so I guess we do have, or no, I think this is okay. I think the orientation of rails is okay. Yeah, I guess maybe if I just turn this on to realistic. Okay, so the rails are a bit embedded here, so we have to bring them up a little bit. So let's go to east elevation. Yeah, here's that rail. So let's see the offset. I'm just going to measure from here down here. Okay, so it's 115 and not 95. So let's select this, go into edit type, go here into rail structure, and here instead of 95, that should be 115, 115. Apply, okay, apply, okay, and there we go. We have our rail. And if I just go into 3D, this is what we have. Okay, it looks beautiful. So now let's test it out. Of course, it shouldn't be just straight. Let's start playing around. So let's go into edit path. Let's add an arc. So I'm just going to go like this. Add an arc here. Another arc here, and if we just hit finish, there we go, just a beautiful railroad all around. Okay, so once we have this railing, now it's no fun if it's just a straight line. So what we can do to play around with this, let's go into site plan, and now here I'm just going to go to site, okay, go to topo surface, and then let's place some points. So here I'm just going to place a bunch of points at 0. And then let's change the elevation to 100. Place a few points there. Then let's change it to 1000. Or no, let's go with 200. Or no, these are millimeters. So let's go to 1000. And then we can even go to 2000. Okay, I think this looks good enough. Maybe copy these a few times. There we go, and I'm just going to extend it a little bit. Just make sure these are all on the outside. There we go, I think this looks okay. Okay, so finally, if I just hit finish to complete that topo surface, there we go. Now, as you can see, because this topo surface is kind of tilted, the rail is going below it, but if we just select the rail, go pick new host, select the topo surface, now as you can see, it's here on top. Now, it's not going to work perfect in each case, so as you can see here, some rails are missing because of the angle. Now, sometimes it's going to work okay, sometimes it isn't, so just keep that in mind, and if you figure out why this happens sometimes, please tell me. I'm interested as well. Okay, so there we go. That's how we create railing in Revit, and of course it makes sense to later on place this cool looking train on our railing. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this quick tutorial on railing in Revit. I hope it was interesting and I hope you have learned something new. Again, as I said, make sure to check out my Patreon, first link in the description. You can find all of the project files like this one, as well as all of the advanced courses. I've got over 50 hours of content over there. So first link in the description. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.